Good morning. Good morning and welcome, welcome, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo. We are safer and stronger when we are together, and we're so grateful to be together. Grateful too to our musicians, ushers, RE program, food ministry, the amazing tech team, and everyone who brings us together and cements our ties this morning. Welcome to part 2 of our Earth Day celebration. Thank you to everyone who did a little or a lot to support our fragile planet these past weeks. Special thanks to all who participated in Waterkeeper Spring Sweep yesterday. It was miserable. I lasted a little over an hour. You? My name is Eve Holberg, and I am your worship associate today. We have a few announcements this morning, but first want to acknowledge that the land upon which we meet is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the original nations of this land, who continue to fight for justice and self-determination. Announcements. We need volunteers to count cash and enter invoices on Monday afternoons. Reach out to Jen in the office if you are interested and can commit to a weekly schedule. There are a lot of moving parts involved in launching our weekly services and other events, including tables and chairs. Can you help with setup and breakdown? Help clean and organize? See Jen. Help Bridget make our garden the envy of Elmwood Avenue. Tuesdays at 10, just show up. Book sale starts next week. Sign up to volunteer in the parish hall after the service and come buy books. Lots and lots of books. And now Reverend Bethany has a special announcement.
It is special. It's a little bit sad news. I wanted to let you all know that next Sunday will be our pianist Ian's last Sunday with us. His contract is ending, and he's got some other projects he's working on, so we wanted to appreciate Ian, give you time to appreciate him individually. But Ian, it's just been such a joy to work with you. We have loved all the music and collaboration you've brought to our congregation, so thank you. And now is the time to turn and greet your neighbor. Hopefully greet someone you didn't have breakfast with this morning. That's a metaphor. So social. I feel like the conversations are longer now that it's warming up. We're like, well, not in here, but out there. So my words for this service are heavily drawn from a book I've been reading, Outgrowing Modernity by Dr. Vanessa Machado de Oliveira. So the call to worship is her opening, her dedication poem in this book, to give you a sense of what the work of this book is dedicated to. So we're going to watch our call to worship this morning. Oh, and if we haven't met, my name is Reverend Bethany Russell-Lowe, and I have the great pleasure and honor of serving this wonderful congregation. Let's watch our call to worship.
Beings, human, other than human, and beyond, who bear the scars and open wounds of exploitation, extraction, expropriation, dispossession, destitution, genocides, and ecocides, carved by the dis-ease of separability, the illusions that humans are separate from nature as the fabric of life, rather than woven into it as entangled threads. This is a limited attempt, a stitch in a broader weave, offered with the hope that it can help us humans recognize and begin to mend the tear in the fabric. May it serve as one strand in a much larger tapestry, a small interruption in the patterns of violence that have shaped our histories and haunt our futures. I ask for help from all my relations, especially those deep within the earth, the networked fungi, the rock-making microbes, the ancestral bones, the ancient fossils, the living soil, the minerals, both rare and common, the forgotten seeds, the gases that move unseen, the underground fires and molten rock, the waters that carve through stone, the pressures that shape continents, and the voids and caverns that hold silent space, who carry earth wisdom and know what it is to break down, to compost, and to regenerate. Please, teach us to honor the wounded places, not as sites of despair, but as places where the threads of life can again take root, reclaiming, reshaping, and reweaving what was once torn apart. In these fragile yet enduring spaces, may we find the wisdom to let go of the cycles of harm and exploitation, and instead cultivate cycles of reverence, repair, and regeneration, knowing that healing is not a return to what was, but an unfolding into what might yet become. Dr. Vanessa Machado de Oliveira.
Will you rise in body and spirit and say our words for chalice lighting? The words are in your order of service and up on the screen. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves, to create a more just and compassionate world. And if you're standing, I invite you to stay there. If you need to sit, go ahead. And we are going to sing our first hymn, number 1003, in your teal hymnals, Where Do We Come From?
Hello, friends. I'm Jess Pond, the Director of Religious Education, and if you'd like to join me for Greta and the Giants, come on up. And this is Greta and the Giants, inspired by Greta Thunberg's stand to save the world. That is so nice. There was once a girl who lived at the heart of a beautiful forest. Her name was Greta. One morning, things weren't quite as they should be. Greta stepped out into her yard, and there, huddled together in the shadows of the trees, were all the animals of the forest. A soft, silvery brown wolf stepped forward with his tail low to the ground. "Please help us," he whispered. "The forest is broken and we don't know where to go. The giants are ruining our home." The giants had always been there for as long as Greta could remember, but now they were worse than ever. They were huge lumbering oafs, and they were always busy. They chopped down trees to build homes. Then they chopped down more trees and built bigger homes. The houses grew into towns, and the towns grew into cities. They built factories and shops and cars and planes. They worked all day and all night until eventually there was hardly any forest left. But the greedy giants had forgotten how wonderful the forest was. They didn't see all the little birds and bugs and butterflies and bears that trembled in the shadows. And no one told them to stop because everyone was scared of them. Everyone except Greta. "Will you help us?" asked the wolf. Greta looked around her. The animals looked tired and sad. She had to help them, but how? Then Greta had an idea. Stop. The next morning, Greta went to the middle of the forest and waited for the giants to come. She stood alone, holding a big sign. The sign said, "Stop." She waited and waited. On the first day, the giants didn't see her and lumbered on by, and on the second and third day too. But on the fourth day, something strange happened. A little boy who had been watching Greta made a sign and came and sat down next to her. He didn't say much, but Greta knew he felt like she did. His sign said, "Listen." Soon, more people and animals saw what they were doing and joined in too. And people have more signs that say things like, "We live here, save our forest, who will help?" Before long, a huge crowd filled the forest, stretching out to the city and the roads beyond. They stood together and waited. The crowd was so huge that the giants were stopped in their tracks. "Please stop," Greta cried. "Your greedy behavior is spoiling our home. You've broken the trees and trampled the flowers, and now the bees and birds have flown away. These animals are homeless, and our forest is dying." After Greta had spoken, everything was silent. But then everyone in the crowd began to shout, "The smoke from your fires is choking the air, and please stop cutting down the trees. You can help plant some new ones and mend my home. We need to take care of our forest and live together. Will you please try?" they all said. The giants shuffled and fidgeted and stomped their feet on the ground. They were embarrassed and a little bit sad. You see, the giants were so busy building that they didn't see what they were doing to the forest or the animals who lived there. The giants felt terrible. "We're sorry," they said, and they promised to try harder. So from that day on, the greedy giants weren't so greedy. They slowed down and learned to sit quietly. They stopped working all the time and instead took up new hobbies. They stopped chopping down trees and learned all about gardening and living in the forest. They cooked, repaired, tidied, and shared, and before long, the forest became more beautiful than they could ever have imagined. That's the end of our story today, folks. What do you do to help you remember the forest? Yeah. You plant stuff? That's awesome. Harper? You never did this before, but it's good to think about, right? So you like seeing the animals outside? Juniper, you have something to share? Plant a walnut tree. Planting trees is great. Otis, you have something? Pick up trash. Yes, I know I saw lots of people helping pick up trash this weekend for Earth Day. All right, friends, let's go continue our discussion in our classes.
Each week, we take a good portion of our Sunday offering and give it away to a social justice cause outside our church walls. Our Share the Plate partner for April is Supportive Services Corporation. Supportive Services Corporation offers free employment services to job seekers 55 years of age and older, as well as employers seeking qualified job candidates through all of Erie County. It also runs a very robust weatherization program. For more about supportive services, visit online at supportiveservices.org. To support our Share the Plate ministry, you can drop a check in the plate or cash. You can donate through church website, mail a check, or arrange a regular automatic deposit with your bank. If your check is a gift to our Share the Plate ministry, please write share on the memo line. If it is a generous gift to the church, to our church, please write Pledge 2026 on the memo line. Either way, please give generously that we may support our church and live our values.
Amen to the choir. Each week, we take a break in our worship services. Not a break from the reality of the world, but a break from the way we're used to processing that reality. Wars and violence, attacks and separations, political collapse and economic yo-yoing, any manner of realities gets our blood pressure boiling and distracts us from what is important. Our families, our friends, our community, our wild and precious lives, the earth. From the spin and swirl of the world, we come here each week to take a quiet, still moment to tune in to the ebbs and flows of our own lives, to feel what we need to feel about the world and our place in it. We each have joys and sorrows. Some Sundays we are brimming over with celebrations from our week, and others we are heavy with grief. Whatever you have brought here this morning, know that you are whole and holy just as you are, and fully welcome here. If you have a person or people or thing or place who is prominent in your thoughts and feelings this morning, I invite you to offer the name, the word now into the quiet embrace of our community. From the depths of our sorrows to the heights of our joys, this is a community that promises to be with each other through it all. May we be good companions for one another. May we be gentle and loving, gracious and present. Let the congregation say, Amen.
Our meditation this morning is by the Reverend Michelle Collins. Spirit of life and love, we gather and we pause in the space between what was and what might be. Here, possibility is not a promise, but an invitation, fragile, alive, asking us to move forward in trust rather than in clarity. We confess our fear of the unknown, our longing for certainty, our clinging to the comfort of the familiar, and despite it all, something in us still reaches, still wonders, still hopes. Grant us the courage to embrace faith in possibility when the path before us is unclear. Help us trust that in the reaching, in the wondering, in the choosing, we are already forming and carried by a love that will not let us go. May we meet what is yet unfinished with tender hands and open hearts. May we meet the rising sun with courage and lean into the work of shaping that which is possible together.
Yes, amen to the choir. We all showed appreciation different ways. You sound great today, folks. I don't know if you know this about me, but I read a lot of nonfiction books. It's my category. I just geek out about it. And I actually listen a lot to nonfiction. Reading is hard for me. But I listen a lot. And sometimes before I listen to a book, I'll listen to a podcast about it. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I know what that book says. I don't need to listen to that book now. But with this book that I've held up for you and am going to offer from today, I listened to a podcast and I said, oh, I need to get that book now. I need to start immersing myself in the way this author is thinking, the way she's conceptualizing the title, which is called Outgrowing Modernity. Imagining what's after this period of modernity, whatever that means. And it's a huge subject. So, and this is not a big enough book to even imagine what might be after modernity. But this book is more of like a textbook with a little bit, it's more of a workbook with a little bit of poetry than a textbook. It's not like download information. It's like read it and sit with it and see what moves and see what doesn't. So rather than preach from this, which would feel like the textbook response, I want to offer you one of the exercises that she outlines in the book. She has a number of, Dr. Vanessa Machado de Oliveira is the author. And she has a number of warm-up exercises, so like get those muscles moving to imagine what's after modernity. And then some big exercises, which are usually done with groups of people who have some common values. It sounds like something we know something about. So, one of the exercises that she invites us to in this book is about hope. She invites us as communities of people to get a little more specific about what we mean by hope, about what we're putting our hope in. So, she outlines 3 categories of hope. There are at least 3. And in a few moments, because we're going to work through what those categories are, I'm going to invite you forward to get about that many beans. Can you see how full that is in my hand? Like, I think I have 12 beans in my hand. You're going to get a small palm full of beans and put them in one of the 3 jars at the table on the left of the sanctuary. The 3 jars represent the 3 different categories of hope. And if you imagine a category beyond these 3 categories, there's an option for you. So as I'm talking, you're saying, you didn't name the thing I'm thinking of. There's still room for you here. So you're going to come forward, get some beans, put them in the jars. I'll describe what the jars mean. Here are the 3 categories broadly, and then we'll get into details what they mean. The first jar, it's actually on your left. These are left to right. The first jar is hope in continuity. So as you think about the earth, creation, all of creation, beyond the earth, the whole universe, do you put your hope in the continuity of that? We'll get into what that means. The second jar, the middle jar, is hope in consensual change. We'll explore what that means. And the third one, this is going to be the most tricky one, but we'll get through it. Hope in composting harm. Composting harm. Yeah, some of you are like, what? We'll get there. We're going to get into it. Here's how Dr. Machado de Oliveira describes hope in continuity, that jar on the far left. This is a hope that a solution will surface, solution to our climate crisis, etc. A solution will surface to indefinitely extend our current growth-based economic systems and high-consumption lifestyles on a finite planet. Envision technological fixes like carbon sequestration, or political solutions such as net zero commitments or green growth, or even concepts like colonizing another planet or reducing the human population to sustain the comforts and consumptions of a specific demographic within planetary limits. Do you have a sense of what that hope means, or do we need to brainstorm more ideas of what it means? Hope in continuity, that's the first one. Number 2, the middle jar, hope in consensual change. Here are the author's words again. This is a hope that we can unite as a global community around already known alternatives to our current growth-based systems. It embodies the belief that we can and will reach substantial consensus in time to effectively plan and implement paths such as degrowth, donut economies, abolitionist economies, indigenous governance, land back, or any other existing non-growth-based solutions. You might not know what all those things are, it doesn't matter. You have a sense of what it might be. Imagine the possibility of changing our course to avert disaster and forging a sustainable and equitable future through human agency, collective action, and intentional systemic transformation. That's a lot of big words. Do we need to unpack that, or do we have it? Do you want to unpack a little bit? Okay, so this is like alternative, known alternatives we might know about. Land back is this idea that we give land to indigenous peoples who have some understanding of what it takes to have a sustainable planet, raise sustainable communities, right? It's adopting already known alternatives that feel maybe for some of us a little fringe or a little out there or a little like dramatic, but it's saying we need to adopt things that are going to counteract this idea that we can keep growing. Right? Does that make a little bit more sense? That we have to actually slow down growth in some areas with strategies we already know are possible or already in the ecosystem, the mind ecosystem. Yeah? We have a better sense. That's that we can come to consensus and actually adopt those strategies. That's the middle jar. Okay, so hope continuity, we just keep, something magically happens, political or otherwise, and we can keep going as is. The middle jar is we adopt practices to reduce the growth and keep going somehow. Here is the third jar. So the middle jar, let me say, the Greta and the Giants, if that book is like, oh yeah, that's what we're going for, I think that's the middle jar. That fits pretty solidly into middle jar. Greta convinced the Giants to act differently, right? Here's the third jar, hope in composting harm. I saw a little, if you get a little bit, what? At this, I think this is the trickiest one for the Western mind to conceptualize, the Western educated mind to conceptualize, so we can drill in and make sure we understand what this is. This is hope, in the author's words, that acknowledging that we are past several critical tipping points and that substantial consensus is unlikely, we will inevitably have to confront the consequences of our harmful actions and the harmful actions of those who came before us. New possibilities will emerge only after we have been taught by the partial collapse or general collapse of current systems. Visualize a process in which we are left with no other choice but to transform our relationship with the planet, with other species, and with each other. We have to metabolize and repair the harm we have caused and collectively learn to coexist differently through the awareness that we are part of a wider metabolism that is biointelligent. It's a lot of other big words. But this is the idea that we might have to consider what continuation means. When we're putting our hope in creation, does it have to include humans? Like a long hope. This is that, we're going to reach for solutions, we're going to have to make the hard choices, and we actually put our hope in us making those hard choices that we don't even know the questions, much less the answers to yet. Does that make some sense, or do we need to imagine more together there? What was that? More. Does anybody grasp this idea and can give me an example? Somebody grasps? Composting harm, it's that we can't even imagine what we will need to do. That we will continue on this growth-based harming impact on our planet for so long that repairing to what was or repairing to what is right now won't be possible. And so we're gonna have a radically different way we don't even have the ability to imagine in this moment of relating to creation, of relating to the future of humanity. It's uncomfortable. I think that's why some of us might not want to get it. It's what's happening now. That's where Lauren's put it. Are you putting your hope there, Lauren, or are you just saying it's what's happening for me there? It is. Lauren feels like it's what's happening now. Yeah, Teal. I'm not understanding the question. Can you come a little closer? Continuity, yeah. Uh-huh. No, that's right. Yeah, because we acknowledge that the way, so Teal is asking for clarification on the continuity. She heard that there's the language of that continuity is your hope and continuity of this way of life for a certain demographic. Because the way that we are all currently living globally right now is not sustainable. This is assuming that. Yeah, Justy, do you have a? I think so. Which jar are you describing, just for clarity? The third one? Yeah. Justy's describing, let me echo it back, like that the third jar is like damage control, like so much harm has happened that the future is actually composting that harm and imagining a new thing. This might not be the jar you put your hope in. That might be another reality. So think about, do we have a sense of what the jars mean? That's all we need to know right now. You don't need to know where your beans go yet or what the beans mean. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to center in, to find your center, find that quiet place within. Think about all the people you are connected to, all of them. Your family, your friends, your neighbors, the ones you know, the ones you don't know, maybe some folks here. Think about the living system and the natural world you're connected to. And ask yourself, where do I put my hope for all of this? My beings. Where do I put my hope for all of this? For all of creation, for all that I am related to? How might I distribute my fragments of hope, my beings, across these different concepts of hope? Observe your attempts to rationalize your hope. Where do you really want to hope something will happen, and where do you hope something will actually happen? What happens when you consider the difference between what you want to hope and what you actually think is possible? Consider the parts of you that see hope as necessary for commitment and action, and the parts of you that might feel okay with some absence of hope. Start to consider, when you get that palm full of beans in your hands, where you might place them. In the jars, outside of the jars, in your pocket. If you are thinking, now that we've gone over 3 categories of hope, if you're thinking, there's a third one that's captivating me, there are sheets of paper. You could take a sheet of paper as a symbol of that hope back to your seat. I don't want you to write on it there because we need to keep moving through the ritual. But in a moment, I'll invite you forward to take a palm full of beans from right in front of me, about 10 or 12, and place them then in the jars. We'll have folks come down the center aisle and return up this edge on the left, just for some traffic flow. And if you are not physically present in the sanctuary this morning, you folks on YouTube, or if moving around in the sanctuary this morning is just not going to work, we have an option for you. Our tech team, I think, is pulling up that option, appearing above me soon. We have a way for you to participate if you have a smartphone or other smart device and can get to the internet. Go to wooclap.com, that's WOO clap.com, and put in the code UUCB HOPE. And the tech team's bringing that up. Yep, it's there. Or you can scan that QR code. That will also get integrated. So we're going to go through this ritual. You'll put your hope into jars, and then I have some questions for us to help process together. All right? Ready? Come on forward down the center aisle, please. you see our jars. And tech team, can you bring up our online participation? See how that is similar or different? Oh, there it is. Okay, so here are the results online. They don't look like jars. They're like jars on their sides, right? But they're in the same order as ours. Yes. Ah, interesting. Online has a little more hope and continuity distributed than about the same in consensual change and a little less here. Do you see? Can people see how much is in them? Do you need them a little closer together? Okay. Oh, in front of Eve's dark top. Is that what you're asking for? Light top, light top. Oh, in front of my stole. Light is better, okay. This is the order you had them in. So there are just a few, and I would say 10% in all, maybe closer to 5 in the continuation. And these are the other 2 jars. This is the consensual change, and this is composting harm. What do you notice? Shout out a short phrase, and I'll repeat it back. What do you notice? Idealism, okay. What do you notice? That Unitarians don't believe in one demographic, as it should be, yes. I notice a bit more comfortable with, not comfortable, putting hope in composting harm more than I expected before we put our beans in jars. For how much we were grappling with that and physically discomfortable with it. What else do you notice? We don't like where we are? Say that second part. Yeah, we're not putting our hope, all of our hope necessarily, in this way. But there's a little bit there still. There's something of value here. What else do you notice, Phil? Is there some pessimism related to that? Oh, yeah. We hope. Well, so one of you whispered to me, reminded me what compost is when we were doing through at the end of the ritual, and said, compost is living stuff that gets broken down and then creates more living stuff. So is that pessimistic or is that realistic? Oh, it's certainly creative. It's based in creation. What surprised you? Anything surprised you about your personal, either your personal experience or the outcome? The third option doesn't need hope. It doesn't need our hope. It's kind of inevitable if we aren't intentional about where else we might place our hope. Even though it's about hope, I didn't put my beans in the one I actually wanted. Yeah, what we want and what we hope for are 2 different things. What else surprised you? I haven't heard from this side of the half of the audience. Someone in the back, way back. Yeah, Ted. We have a lot of people here who are committed to new and creative ideas for the future, and for me, that's hope. Yeah, a lot of us are invested in those creative ideas, whether we have them or creating them or adopting them. Anything else surprise you? Yeah.
I think in the past would have made it seem more in the first category, hope that someone was coming to save us.
Yes.
And now I think there's more charge in the change that involves change.
In the past, there was more hope in someone coming to save us, or there being a technical fix, a political, economic fix. But now it's like, oh, it's community. It's adopting something new, all in big ways. Anybody feeling any tension? I want to leave room for what's the conflict or tension or but that you're having in your body right now? This third. The tension is that this third jar feels like putting your hope in something. Say the he who shall not be named saying what? There was something. Yeah. They've got nothing to lose. There are a lot of people who have lot to lose. A lot of us have a lot. Uh-huh. Yeah, Justy.
Yeah, I was looking at it more not like they have nothing to lose, but they've already lost so much that nothing
They've already lost so much.
bad and nothing to lose headed towards God. And that's why I was looking at the hope and opportunity for those futures.
Yeah.
It's not that they have nothing to live for, so why not? It's more that they have nothing to live for. They have something to live for because so much has gone bad that only good can happen.
Oh, okay, so there's a point of like, we've hit like rock bottom, and there's something that could grow from here.
Opportunity to take the bad and turn it into a negative, from a negative to a positive, that a reduction. Not that, well, they got no money, so who cares? Vote for me. For my personal thing, it's more like vote for me if you want, because I got to where I went
Yeah.
and back, and here I am.
I hope this is a good coffee hour conversation for some of us. I got 1, 2, and 3 more on this. Eddie first. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me try to repeat back some of that. This tension between what you hope for and what you think might actually happen, and then acknowledging the reality that there's going to be, even if we're putting our hope in composting harm, we're composting harm to people and things that we love deeply, like our children, potentially. Oh, yeah, yeah. Eddie, and then I had one in the middle here. Eddie, no? Gage, you want to sub in for it? Yeah.
I'm noticing myself feeling a lot of tension in response to other people's interpretations of that composting law. Because, like, I'm like, no, it doesn't mean that. That's not what it means, right? Which is my reaction for me. Because to me, I see it as like composting is when you take something that you can't use. It doesn't like it's scraps of food that you're not going to be able to eat, or something that has gone bad or whatever, and you sort of break it down into something that you can use, right? Like you said, and it goes, that's something that's not living into something that's living. Right? That's all kind of like part of this cycle, right? And I kind of forgot what I was saying. But
Okay.
I guess to me, it doesn't feel like fatalistic at
Uh-huh.
all to
Uh-huh.
just say that like there is harm that is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, we're not past the point of no return,
Yeah.
but we are past the point where like it's going to be sunshine and butterflies and rainbows.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be difficult, bad things that happen,
Right.
and we can either say like that's not going to happen and we can put all of our stock in the idea that it's not, or we can recognize that there are going to be difficult things for us happening and kind of view ourselves in this like maybe I think what I'm thinking of is bringing it up to like a bigger scale, like viewing ourselves as just one part of like this broader cycle, as opposed to like thinking about just from where we're standing.
Right. So when you zoom out in this composting harm jar, like in the scale of all time, actually, it's not nihilistic to put our hope in this jar. It's acknowledging the end might be closer than other would have been naturally. And there's some role, there's some generativeness too in what I hear you saying, Gage. There's one more here, still relevant, yeah? The phoenix and the fire. Uh-huh. Yeah. There's this sense of like, might as well burn it down to see what phoenix rises from the ashes. And the might as well as a phrase, but like when it burns down, what phoenix rises? Okay, you could talk about this at coffee hour if you want to, social hour. We're already over my minutes. Wherever we place our hope, friends, we have to put it somewhere. Okay, and put it intentionally. Eve's going to keep me from not spilling beans. Let us move forward, holding the complexity of our hope, our shared hope, where we place it as a community, knowing that not one of us knows for certain what the future holds. And even though we do know that, we know that gathering for collective purpose, discussing our deepest hopes, is life-giving and vital work. It is work we must keep doing as we build that world we dream about. With the hope that we might find a way to build a new way towards that hope, we're going to sing together. It's number 1017 in your teal hymnals. The words will also be on the screen. I invite you to rise for a stretch if your body's up for that right now, or stay seated if that's what you need.
Affirmation we share as we extinguish our chalice. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in power of peace, faith, justice, and love. Let us continue to grow as citizens of our communities, our nation, and our world. Let us work to build the common good for ourselves and the generations to come. May it be so. Amen.
Before we sing the last piece here, just want to say again that I am very grateful to Ian for the 6 months he's been our interim pianist. Everything he's done, obviously reading a lot of very diverse music that we do here at the church, but also playing things by ear, transcribing them, arranging them, doing improvisations for us, and just going with the flow of all of the musical richness at this church, and really just providing us with so many of his gifts. This piece was actually one that he chose, and I think it's a beautiful piece about hope and optimism, whatever that might look like. And I know it's hard in the world to find that sometimes, but it's really lovely when you find it in a song and you can kind of just have that moment in the music to be uplifted And we've certainly been uplifted by Ian, so we wanted to sing this song today. And I hope that you will take time to appreciate him after service today or next week. But next week is a youth service, so he will just be accompanying the hymn. So this is kind of our last piece with the music team with Ian. So yeah, appreciate him.
Why won't my hands stop shaking when all the earth is still? When ancient ghosts are waking, so many plans need making, so many steps need taking. I think I will. I think I will. Morning glow, morning glow starts to glimmer when you know winds of change are set to blow and sweep this whole land through. Morning glow is long past due. Fill the earth, come and shine for all your worth. We'll be present at the birth of all faith making new. Morning glow is long past due. Morning glow all day long, while we sing tomorrow's song. Never knew we'd be so strong, but now it's very clear. Morning glow is almost here. Morning glow, oh, your light, we can make the new day bright, and the phantoms of the night will fade into the past.